Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. This is probably going to be the last video of this main series, and what we're going to be doing in it is we're going to be finishing up our grenade launcher and our rocket. So creating this projectile and then adding a couple of things to the grenade launcher that we're missing from the last video. In between, I lined up our enemies every 200 apart. So if you remember, select on something with your snap settings at a certain setting, hit Control End, and it'll snap it to that grid, and text renders and folders and stuff like that. Okay. So in this one, let's get started by opening up our grenade launcher weapon in our weapons folder. The thing that we want to do, like most of the time, is we need to get event start shooting, and let's add a call to the parent function like this, and then we want to get the weapon mesh, and we're going to play animation. All right, and the animation that we want to play is fire grenade launcher like that. All right, and then for this one, we also want to fire rate calculate. We don't want to spam fire this one either. And the fire rate that we're gonna have for here, let me just see where that is. Fire rate, we can set that to be 0.5. All right, so that's all that we want to do. We can set these to be different numbers, like -0.25. Reload time can be 2.5. Bullet spread can be 600. So, I mean, some of these, this has to be projectile. This has to be grenade launcher. But some of these, the ammo, this is where things start getting to be fun, where you can look at all these variables that we created and slot them in for whatever you want. You can mess around with different meshes, if you have different packs and different sound effects, and you can easily slot this stuff in. Change the kill impulse. The projectile should be the grenade launcher projectile. Impact effect should be that weapon stats. You can change the damage values, the weapon kick, reload times. All that stuff is now fully customizable for you. So if I enter into the game, so I'm not going to be spending too much time on it. But now we have our grenade launcher shooting off. That might be a little bit too big of a radius. But so now it gets into testing the game where everything works, and now it's just about making it look and feel and sound however you want it to. And so that was a big thing I wanted to do with this class, was set it up in that way, where at this point all it comes down to is just changing up these variables, and you get a completely different feeling game. And so your weapons can now start to look differently than mine, sound differently than mine, have different amounts of kick and bullet spread and recoil and just all of that sort of stuff. All right. So to finish it off, let's do the rocket launcher, and let's also get the rocket launcher projectile. And for projectile mesh, let's get rocket ammo, and let's set this to be that's too big, 2 times 2.5 times the size. It's a little bit bigger than the collision, but we can set this to be 1.2. Oh, that made everything bigger. That's awkward. Come on, Tim, children, you should know how this works. We want to make sure this is dealing radius damage. Weapon stats don't matter, but the impact effect, we want this to be rocket launcher impact effect. At least that's what I think. Okay, you can set it to be both. The script just gets to be long at this point. Projectile movement. Let's set this to be, so our sniper rifle was what? 12,000. So we can keep this to be at 1,000. We can make this 0.5, because I think the grenade is 2. So rocket launcher would be 0.5. Like I said, mess around with it. Do whatever you want. You can have this thing shoot a beach ball out and make a squeak noise or a lion's roar. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. It's just a matter of changing the variables up. So we can close out of the projectile. Now in the weapon, so we have our rocket launcher weapon. All that we want to do, all right, we just got one thing to do. Event, start shooting. You guys are pros at this point. Just plug in the fire types, grab the weapon mesh, and we want to play an animation. I actually forgot to do one thing, but I'll do that in a second. Fire rocket. So we have that going. We don't have to worry about fire rate calculate. At least I don't have to, because I only have one rocket in my magazine at any given time. So whenever you shoot, just reloads automatically. Projectile is going to be rocket launcher projectile. I'm going to open that back up, actually. Kill impulse, let's set this to be 250,000 or something just absolutely ridiculous. Damage will be 200 and impact radius will be 300. I'm just putting in random numbers at this point. Rocket launcher impact effect. Let's have reload time be okay. That's fine. Let's have this be 750. So our so that won't actually affect where the projectile is going, but it will affect the crosshairs. Okay, so it'll make it harder to hit fire aim because you won't. That crosshair spread's gonna be a lot wider now. Weapon kick. We probably want this to be like negative 0.5, probably like a lot. The closer that is to 1, the crazier it'll be if it's like negative 2. So the smaller the number, the more intense it will be, essentially. So you have to think of that since it's negative numbers, it's like inverted. So negative 0.5 isn't that much, but like negative 2 is like insane. Fire rate doesn't matter. Fire type projectile, yeah. The only thing I want to do is, like with the grenade launcher, it's gonna add a component, and I want to make sure we do it on here, of a particle system, and we'll call this trail effects again, and then there's a rocket trail. Rocket launcher trail. All right. Fingers crossed I didn't forget something. But yeah, we have this. Now we have this. Getting lag a little bit. Loading that for this. But you can see it's like arcing down. Oh, there we go. We got a kill. The sounds are a little unsynced. The rocket is really loud, and so you can. But if you listen closely, you can still kind of hear that kill impulse. If I shoot it right at the ground in front of them, I'd only hit the one because it didn't do that with all of them. But hopefully that's creating. Oh, I might not have set the impact radius on this. So I actually did set it weapon stats. It was impact radius. I just thought I didn't. This video's getting really random. I'm just kind of messing around at this point. There you can see that hit 2 people. There we go. We made the radius a little bigger. It's still not super big where if you hit it in the ground. Actually, oh my gosh, there they go. No. All right. Calm down, Tim. Okay. But yeah, that I think that's everything. That's all of our weapons. We can pick up ammo. Yeah, I think that is all that we have to do in this class for the time being. So we have, let's just pick up this weapon, this weapon, this weapon. I didn't change the bullet spread, so you can see the sniper rifle isn't that big. So I should probably make these a little bit bigger. You can see they're switching up a little bit. The shotgun's actually more than like all of them. But yeah, we can pick up our ammo. This doesn't work, but it should pick up this. Yeah, we got this whole project. Should be all working now. The wrong keys. This. We got this. We got a little bit of that. We got a little bit of, oh, I missed. We got a little bit of that. A little bit of this. And a little bit of freaking 360. Finish them off with the pistol. See, now you can start having some fun. You can switch between the weapons, and you can Be a freaking pro over here, okay? So yeah, guys, I think that is pretty much everything. So before we finish it off, I just want to go over a couple of things. So moving forward in this project, obviously there are certain things that are in first-person shooters that I did not include here. I wanted to include the weapons. I want to include the ammo and the different impact effects. So like I said, it's very easily customizable to now make it whatever type of first-person shooter that you want. You can take this knowledge of how to draw the line traces and you can apply that to a third-person shooter. It'll work exactly the same way. You can add different surface types. You can add AI to the enemies. A whole bunch of different things. So yeah, so like now you can make the type of game you want. You can make it into like a looter shooter. You can make it into a zombie wave survival type of game. You can have shooting targets with like a point system. You can make a more standard military type shooter, which is kind of like what I did here. You can go ahead and create like a health system, add blood screens. We don't have a way of the player actually taking damage in this current project, but that is something that can be added. You can make health pickups and different things like that. We can make the enemies drop ammo. So what we can do, this would be really simple. Off of this enemy death, you could add an extra pin and you could have it spawn an actor from class, and you could have it spawn any one of these. You can pull out an array, right? And then you can have it be any one of these 6 possibilities, and maybe you can have an array of 10, so that there's a chance that nothing drops from the enemy, something like that. We can put more UI features with the weapons and the pickups, because right now in a real game something would show up saying that you could actually interact with this. That was something that I didn't bother adding. We can give our game a way to make that hand disappear. So hopefully you know enough about different animation blueprints. If we're not holding a weapon, all you have to do is just change the animation, or you can just you can even run off an event tick and have the arm mesh, if we don't have a weapon, just set hidden in game and just have that invisible. So there's just like a couple like little small things that you can do. This project is not going to be super perfect. There are going to be little issues. One thing that I noticed in particular is that if you are switching weapons, so if I'm aiming and I switch weapons, it just actually just goes between them. It doesn't actually play the animation and the sound. So that's why QA teams exist. It's so there's certain things that aren't necessarily like bugs per se, but there's sort of immersion breaking things within the code that you can either try to alleviate. There's probably some things that I quite honestly am not even aware of, but such is life. That is kind of what making games is like. There's so much time spent into different builds of games being created every single day, and then having those builds updated and having a whole team of people playtesting them to find some of these issues that maybe the computer won't recognize as an issue, but a human being playing the game would say, you know, that's a little bit unnatural to have it happen like that, right? We can also add more collision settings to the game. So like I just have these working as line traces, but these invisible boxes, you can see they actually interact and hit the default stone thing, and we can't walk around them. That would be as simple as going into the project settings, going into collision, and setting that box as a different type of object trace that our player can actually walk between, and that's something our line trace would ignore. Okay, so trying to think of anything else. You can also make the game like the way you want it. Like I don't have, with the way I have it set up, you can't reload if you're sprinting. You can change that if you want. You can modify the script to your personal liking or whatever. Depending on how this works and where you're watching it, if there are certain features that you want to see me specifically show you how to do, if you're unaware of it, you are unable to find a tutorial on YouTube to build off this project or something on the Unreal documentation, I would highly suggest that you go ahead and try that if you want to search something that's like really, really specific. But if there are certain other features that you want to see added, just let me know, and I can potentially add to this course. I'd have to think about if it's even possible. You can add videos onto, like, append them to the end. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end of this class, thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me that you will, find this type of thing engaging. I hope you learned a lot, that you have this end project and are proud of it, and can either leave it be and be like, okay, I know how to do this and that was fun, or you can start customizing it and adding your own things to it, your own features, going into the marketplace and making these guys not look like the Mannequin Man or something like that. So yeah, this project is an oyster, so you can either use it as something like, okay, I know how to do this, and that was cool, or you can keep on adding onto it. And if you keep on adding onto it, I would love to see what you create from this. That would be awesome. As always, if you have any questions for me, just write it down in the discussion or shoot me an email or whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching this from beginning to end. It really does mean a lot to me. And yeah, I will see you in the next video /class/ I don't even know. All right. Goodbye.